Hi, good day, everybody. Welcome to one of our sessions again of the product introduction. Today, we're going to introduce you guys regarding our displays and monitors, our switches, cables, and our power boxes. I just want to confirm if the guys that are out there can hear to make sure that the recording is there. And welcome again. There we go. Good. So as you all know, I'm Evan. I'm in charge of the technical support, the technical support engineer. So I'm here to give you guys a bit more of an introduction regarding our products and regarding how the technical stuff, just to be a bit of a guideline. So we're just going to jump into it. Got quite a bit to share with you guys today. So yeah, okay. Just excuse the slides, takes it a bit of a time. The PowerPoint is pretty big. We try to split it up a bit. There we go. So the first thing that we're going to be discussing is our product systems, our SOHO monitors and our CCTV monitors. And we're just going to quickly go through that a bit. So the first one is going to be our monitors. We have two different categories. The first category is going to be for like office use. That's generally just your normal monitors, you know, for admin work or, you know, normal way of doing things. Then we have our CCTV monitors. That's a bit more for your project sites, your high ends, your CCTV BNC connections itself. So if you have the older models of the DVRs, you can connect them directly into the monitor itself just by using a BNC connection. Sometimes some of the systems are a little bit older and your client might need just a monitor inside his room, and it's kind of difficult to run a network cable or to run an HDMI, and you have that capability then to use this type of monitors. And then we've got our Eco series, our E series, that is a bit more, you know, a little bit lower end and a bit easier on the power, if I can put it that way. Right. So just a little bit of a platform regarding this. We've got from 19-inch all the way up to 65-inch. It depends on which category you would like to go to. Like our office monitors, we all used to the back in the old days, the 19-inch, which none of the office people use anymore. 24-inch is a bit better. It makes it a bit easier as a screen itself for you to do your work and have multiple tabs open, as an example. Then, like I mentioned, our high-end projects, our BNC, the CCTV side of it, and then our economic range itself. So these are the different models and different sizes that we offer. All right, so the SOHO monitors itself for small businesses or homes. These are very nice, easy to use, straightforward, just like normal monitors. The nice thing is you've got two connections here from HDMI to VGA. That gives you also a bit of a more of a wider view angle. So it makes life a little bit easier, especially when it comes to working or study works or whatever the case is. Normal resolutions at 1920 by 1080. So that gives you that capability to still use that extra bit of frames. Right, so for these models, they run of 60 Hertz. So they also have a very good quality, and they don't have a remote feature like some of our other models do. So, but like I said, you have that capability of either using VGA or HDMI. Some of the people's old laptops still have VGA, or some of the projectors or projects that you are using needs VGA, and then that gives you the capability. But most of us are using HDMI. That makes life a lot easier. Right, on our CCTV monitor side, this is very important. These monitors need to run 24/7. So with ours, you get a longer lifespan compared to normal PC monitors, because normal PC monitors, they just get turned off once the people go home or whatever the case is. But for normal surveillance type of use, you need these panels to have 24-hour access, because it depends on if those monitors are being put down by security, guard rooms, or whatever the case is. You don't want them to go down and not have that footage. That's a security risk. So we offer a lot longer a lifespan regarding that from during the day right through to the night. So keep that in mind as well. Very nice feature. Right, on our BNC monitors, the CCTV series, it's got that capability of using a USB itself. You have, like we mentioned, the 24 hours, and it's a plastic casing, so it's a little bit lightweight, so it makes life a little bit easier carrying it around or putting it down or mounting it on a bracket, so you don't need a heavy-duty bracket. It's got built-in speakers as well, so that makes life a bit easier. So if there is a monitor and you are doing the, how can I say, the recording of the sound for that area, or for the noises or whatever the case is, that gives you the capability of when you do a playback, you can actually hear what's going on in the background. Right, so with these models, there's different sizes and different options. So I think the most commonly used would be the 21-inch, but it all depends on the application. And nice thing is you have still that VGA and HDMI connection. All these monitors are running off 60 hertz, and they've got that good quality and brightness. A lot of people get confused between a TV and a monitor. A TV, the pixels are a little bit less when it comes to surveillance, so the picture quality is a little bit less. That's why we always recommend a monitor. A monitor has a more clear quality of image. Those guys that do a bit of gaming will also tell you when it comes to a TV and when it compares to a monitor is way better because you can see more depth of the colors and more better quality of the frame rate. So the Eco series, also lightweight, smaller in size, 24 hours. It's just a little bit of a little bit lower product itself, so it makes it a bit easier for smaller projects or smaller areas to be able to use. They come in different ranges, all the way from normal 18-inch all the way up to a 42. Like I said, also you have that 60 hertz on the rate itself. And then the nice feature about these ones are you'll see also the normal, how can I put it with my mouse? My mouse is not going to show. Is it showing? It's not showing. Okay, sorry, my mouse is not showing. So at the bottom, you'll see that you have remote control. So on the smaller model, you don't have that. On the bigger models, you do. So you have that remote feature itself. So you can use the remote control itself to change if you need to change anything on the monitor itself. So it makes life a little bit easier. Then on our higher end projects, this is much better resolutions, much better display. They work off HDMI, 4K signal, and you have more of a proper depth of view of the image on the screen itself. So it gives you a bit more detail, like I mentioned earlier. So this is obviously the much better way to go. Even if you do have that office use or whatever, I would always recommend a high-end product. It is a bit more pricier, but you have a better quality of image, so it makes it a bit easier to concentrate, especially when you are viewing something. So these models are a little bit different. So they got different sizes as well, from our 24 to 42, 50, 55, and 56, like we mentioned earlier. So on the smaller model, there's no remote control. On the bigger models, they have that capability of remote control. The nice thing about these are if you cannot connect up your laptop, you can connect up your USB dongle. So if you've got your PowerPoint or your videos or your slides or whatever, you can just shove it in there and then play the sound. So that makes it a bit easier and more effective. Right, so the next option that we've got here, we're going to be discussing our displays. But before we discuss our displays, I just want to share with you guys a little bit of a video clip just to show a bit more on the monitoring side. Just bear with me. There we go. Hope everybody can hear. Righty then. So that was just a little bit of a video just to show what displays can be doing for you. So and our monitors. So now we're going to move on towards our display project sites. That's more for your control room use and more for your malls or signage. So we're going to go through that a bit. Right. Okay, so on our different ways of our displays, we've got like LED walls, we've got flat panels, we've got LCD video walls, we've got digital signage, and so on. So those are different applications where these can be used. That makes it a bit easier for indoor, outdoor, and you know, just the all-round control room, or maybe for I don't know, entrance of a building. That's also nice. We've got it in our building. As soon as you walk into the entrance, we have our LED display there with our video wall, and that is a very nice feature to welcome your clients. So for indoor flexibility, we've got the indoor different panels, so different sizes, different models, different way of displaying things. So it all depends on your application. For indoor, outdoor as well, we have different options. You can see the different ways of the brackets also. They are completely different. And then we've got also rental LEDs. So we do offer that option as well. So you can speak to your provider as well, and they can contact us and we can schedule all that information as well. So LED monitors, those are the bigger indoor and outdoor walls, so giving you that LED display. Then we've also got the ones that can be used on stands and mobile, so you can move them around, have them at different locations or just for a certain event. And then our accessories regarding that is the decoder, the video wall controller, and an LED controller. So it depends on what your application is there. So that makes life a bit easier. And then on our next slide, we've got here is our system technology. So that is how you can integrate it itself. So this gives you that capability of basically using different areas. So if you've got a shopping mall area, you can have your video controller, your wall controller itself and the central point. And then it can be your LED controllers can display for the front of the building, the back of the building, and the side of the building on those walls for advertising or whatever the cases that you might need. So all that can be integrated. You can use your PC or you can use the video control for the HIK-xample professional. That makes life a bit easier, especially for remote control applications. Then on these panels for the COB, they are different models. They come in different ranges as well. They are IP65 rated panels. They interlock with one another. So you can put up your display, depends on how big your wall needs to be. So one single display can look up with another one, and so you can carry on, depends on what your application is, depends on how big your screen needs to be. And as you saw in the video, there's a special tool for different applications where you would like to put that. Right, then the nice thing about the COB LED, just waiting for the slide to move there. So everybody knows when it comes to monitors and TVs, you know, when the dust starts sitting on it, or maybe you got some moisture on it, it gets a little bit of a white fog, little bit of a look, and that's not always nice, especially when it comes to deep black. It always shows that, and it's very not a nice way to have a panel or a display itself, and you have that little bit of a white glare on it. It looks a little bit foggy. So with our special technology on it, that helps us to prevent that. So that's just a little bit of a picture, just a bit of a guideline there to show you how nice that is. And then it's easy to wipe, easy to clean. So keep that also in mind. Then our next one is very exciting. That's coming very soon. It's very popular as well, especially overseas market, is the LED naked eye. So just like the cinemas, where instead of using the glasses, yeah, we'll have the actual panels wrap around a building, and then you've got that 3D LED display. So you don't need those glasses, and it really looks nice, really looks new. It's a very, very popular feature overseas. And I think if you guys want to, you can obviously go and Google yourself. A lot of the companies are using our products for advertising. They basically do that. This is quite expensive, but I think it's a very good way of advertising, especially in the modern age that we are living in. Then on these, they have different panels, so they can be linked up, as you can see. So it's giving you that 3D display. This can be used from the control unit itself for the software, and then it goes through the video wall controller. Then from the video controller, it goes to the LED controller, and that is the display on the wall. So it depends on how many displays that you need and how big your image needs to be. And it also curves around buildings, so it makes it really realistic regarding that imaging. So just a little bit of a show and shine. So we also have the screens itself where they can interlink with another. So you have that slim line itself through it. So you've got no bedded little angles around it. So it makes it very nice, very easy, and not like other ones where it's stretched out. So that is much better quality. Right. So on the LED, on the new ones, you have a control unit itself that can be linked through your switch to different monitors, also to be able to view. So these models give you an output itself of 6 video outputs. So it depends on what your application is. This runs up to 13.27 megapixels. So this is pretty big itself. So that gives you the 6 video display scores over the panel itself. So it's a bit tricky, but this gives you that capability. So this gives you 24 itself panels that you can connect to it. So each model and different series for the LED controllers are a little bit different. So it depends on how many displays that you need. So sorry, as an example here, as you can see on the left-hand side, you have one that's got 4, then you've got the one that's got 2 and 3. So one network input will be for display, one single display. The next network, the one with 2, is for 2 displays, and then you have 4 displays. So it depends on what your application is. It will use our program called VI Pixel, so that be able to give you that capability of changing the sizes and how you want it. So the best way that I can explain that is if you have 4 panels up, you can have 3 of them giving you a video image, and the one in the small corner, you can create a little block there and have a static image there with maybe your information, contact details, or whatever the case is for your advertising. All of this can be linked to your HIK Central, which makes life a lot easier. So for any company that does do advertising, they can have the control to be able to use it remotely. So if they got a new client or they got a new premise that they need to advertise for, then all they have to do is just update it through the network and change that imaging or that information that they need to change, which allows them to be able to do that remotely. So you don't have to go to the actual site of where the display is. So that makes it a lot easier. So as I discussed earlier now, so you use the program itself and you can link it to multiple different branches. So you can have one in Durban, one in Cape Town, and one here in Joburg, and you don't have to go out at it towards those areas at all. You can remotely access it through the network, through the LAN, and that makes life a lot easier. So yeah. The nice thing about the tools, it gives you different options. As you can see on the right-hand side, you can put in any description, any words, different colors, different features, different angles. So for any designing application regarding your advertising, this makes life a lot easier, more user-friendly, and in one program itself. So you don't need additional programs for that. These panels comes in different ranges of control panels. So as you can see, you have a 8-channel, a 16-channel, 24-channel on this specific series, and that allows you to have different panels. So either 8 panels, 16 panels, or 24 panels. And then we have the smaller switches itself that allow you to have 4 to 6 panels. And then you have the actual controllers itself on its own, standalone. So that allows you to have either 1 to 2 to 4. So that gives you that capability to make it a bit easier. So it depends on, again, what your application is. So that makes life a lot easier, especially when it comes to your display. Also to note that we do feature these different models at our showroom here at Hikvision in Johannesburg. Anybody is allowed to come and visit us at any time. Just obviously make a booking. And if you want your team, if you guys do actual advertising, you can bring your team here. You can book a scheduled time with us, and we can show you all our different options and different displays that we've got here at our showroom. Then on our quality of image for the LCD, so normally you have that 1080p full HD. Now we offer also that 4K Ultra HD. So this is perfect, like I mentioned earlier, for monitoring, for surveillance, or if you would like to have maybe a cinematic area, or maybe for business conference. It depends on what your application is. As you can see, you can have that very nice video wall with our technology that's built into it and a reliability on it. So that's a very, very key point, is the reliability on it, and that makes it a lot easier. And also for the LEDs to be swapped out, different panels, you have different options. So the tools, the application to be able to swap out if there's any damages or if something goes wrong, it makes it very easy for the installer to be able to do that. On our flat panels, flat panel family, we have different sizes. In each of our boardroom here at headquarters in South Africa, we have our flat panels against our wall for our meetings and our demonstrations, or whatever the case is. Some of the models have built-in webcam, some of them have built-in microphones, some of them don't. Depends on what the application is. And yes, if you do look on the right-hand side and you did see the 84-inch, yes, that is correct. It's 86-inch. That's the size of that display itself. That is massive. It's not small, it's really big. And we use this on a daily basis at our headquarters, and a lot of other businesses use it as well. So it's a very nice feature, very easy to use, and it's got that interactive module itself into it. So you can touch screen and you can work on it, and you can have your different option, put your slide, put your PowerPoint in it, have your Zoom. It depends on your model. Obviously, if you wanted to use Zoom, then you've got that built-in 8-megapixel camera that's on top of it, and you've got that microphone for that area itself. Right, so like I mentioned, it's perfect to be able to use. So you can use it for Zoom, you can use it for your PowerPoint, depends on the application, and which is nice. Also, you can make any changes on it, and from there on you can email it through or send it through whichever platform that you are using. So that makes life a lot easier. You'll see also on the right-hand side bottom, where there's a little picture of Zoom, you'll see there's also a microphone and a wireless connection. So you can have the webcam on top of it, you can have your controller, and you can have your speaker. So for Zoom, you can put it down on your boardroom meeting and everybody can have their discussion. Makes life a bit easier. So different options from USB webcams to the stand that moves around for different applications. Maybe you have certain events, or maybe your company do a lot of meetings or scheduled events at hotels or something. This makes it a bit easier to move around and then still pull in a different part of the country or a different region itself towards your meeting for like Cape Town. So if your company needs to do a presentation or meeting, this just makes life a lot easier for that, instead of just always sitting down with a laptop and everybody's trying to battle. So yeah. So as you can see on these displays, it's got that interactive built into it. So you've got your different ways of writing on your board. You'll see on the right-hand side, you have your pencils. These come in different models from 1080p to your 4K. It's got Type-C connections as well on the higher end model. It's got its built-in speakers and microphones. So it depends on what your application is, but these ones are nice. We've got one on display as well. Right, so on the webcam itself, these specific models on the D5D series, they have a 12 megapixel. And the nice thing about them is you'll see that you can also flip it, just like some of your laptops where you have that little shield. This gives you that capability of also shielding it if you are in meetings and you don't want everybody to look at you. It depends on what that option is. Right, just want to make sure that everybody can still see me. I just got a notification, network not strong enough. Technology. Then, like I mentioned, our video walls, they can be mobile. You've got your floor panels that you can push around. The nice thing about the floor panels is they can join up to one another. We've got 3 of them on display here by us, and they give you a proper quality of image. So especially for advertising, for maybe for menus or whatever the application is. And then you have your digital signage box itself that also can go with that. It depends on what your application is. So it's nice for those type of features for advertising. Makes life a lot easier. So definitely please speak to your salesperson that you guys normally deal with, and they can contact us and we can get involved, and then we can share a bit more in detail information. Right, so these models are new, so different ranges coming soon. So different applications, especially for like different places where you can get takeaways for those menus on the top. Some of the places I still get irritated where they've got a menu, and then when you place an order, then you stand and wait because they don't have that self service where it will show you which number is next or if your order is ready. Then you stand there for 20 minutes waiting for your order. I don't know how many other people have got frustrated with that, but I do. So with that frustration, we have those panels to be able to interact with it, to be able to give that capability of showing what is the next order or whatever the next order number is. Makes life just a lot easier, and it speeds up the process and also makes your clients happy. They are Android based as well. That it would be Android 8.0, and they are full HD inputs. So it depends on whatever your application is, and you can put it in your image or whatever your video slide or whatever your application is. Right, these panels are different sizes, different lengths. So it depends on how you would like to connect them up. You can have the monitors or you can have the normal display boards itself. So makes life a lot easier, and you can interchange them how you would like to have those options. So that makes it a lot easier. Right, and then we've got our server box itself for that type of applications. So it allows, if you, like I mentioned earlier, if you've got a big mall, then you have multiple entrants and you want multiple displays itself, those LED displays or LCD displays. this gives you that capability of having that server rack with all those little features built into it, and you can just add onto it, which makes it a lot easier and much better to use. So on that, as you can see on the next slide here, so you can connect up your network, you can have your computer or your company connected directly to it. You can have your speakers for the mall or the shopping center that goes all the way around it to one central unit itself. So you can have your display walls, you can have your LEDs plus your speakers with the sound. So it depends on, like I mentioned, each application is different, but the options are there, and it makes it very nice and user-friendly and easy to use. Right, on our next one here, so you have multiple different walls, like I mentioned. So you have video wall 1, video wall 2, and then you can add video wall 3 and video wall 4. So you can have up to 8 video walls in a single server itself, like this box. And then you can have it also connected to HIK-Central Professional, like I mentioned. So each entrance can have a different one. And a nice thing also about using the HIK-Central, you can also have maybe cameras looking at that video wall. So you can actually see the live feed and make sure that your video wall is doing what it's supposed to be doing, and it's having that interactive to be able to make sure that the customers can see the advertise, and even link that through to maybe to your client. So if your client is paying you for advertising, you can say, you know what, here's the video footage, the live footage of this mall, of the video wall, and they can see that their advertising is actually being paid for and it's working in the correct manner. All right. And then on our next slide, if it's going to go, that will be our HIK-Central Smart. I think I went one too fast. And there goes my PowerPoint. There we go. Okay. So on our smart wall itself on HIK-Central, that gives you that capability of splitting it up, like I mentioned, having your control room person or your controller be able to monitor this and change things. So if you have certain time schedules, so if you have a certain advertise for like at 5 o'clock and a different advertising that needs to happen at 7, a lot of times the movies are displayed for the mall, so that makes life a bit easier. So it depends on what your application is, but that capability is there and it's very user friendly. And we do offer our HIK-Central Smart Wall training as well at our head office here, so that can make that arrangements and make it a bit easier also for the controller to get that application of learning how to use the product and where they can use it to the full to your full advantage, to make sure that your advertising or your display walls are there and making it a lot easier. Right, so that's the first step on that. I'm just going to open up the PowerPoint for our next one. That will be for our accessories itself. Just give me a second just to close this one. Technology. There we go. Right. Almost there. That's why I said today's PowerPoint or today's introduction is a bit longer. We got a bit more to share. We're trying to catch up onto time. Just want to make sure that it's displaying. Are you displaying? Let's see. Share. There we go. Ha! It worked. All right. So the next one is we're going to be discussing our switches, our cables, and our power box. So we're going to be quickly going through that. I'm not going to spend too much time. I don't want to keep you guys too busy. Just waiting for the PowerPoint to go to the next slide. Come on, work with me today. I don't think it's the weather. There we go. So we're going to discuss our product family, our gigabit switches, which is pretty amazing, and our smart switches. Right. So first of all, our gigabit switches. The first one is going to be the ones on the left-hand side, the white ones. They are non-PoE switches, which is a little bit easier on the price. So it doesn't need that power, but they are gigabit overall. So it depends on what your application is and what you need. So this makes it a lot easier to send that data transfer from point A to point B with a lot more speed. Then we've got our gigabit switches itself, that's PoE. So different models ranging from very small to the 5-port all the way up to like 24 and so on. So it depends on what your application is, but then you have gigabit over the entire switch itself. So these are different models, different series from your 10 to 100 megabytes per second to 100 to 1,000. That's your gigabit. So different applications, different options, and different ranges itself. So these are our gigabit PoE that is unmanaged. So that allows just for the network just to send that through. It is shielded, so to make sure that everything is a bit protected, so one another doesn't clash. The nice thing about this also is that some of these switches can be linked to your HIK-Central, so you can actually monitor what's happening. So it will notify you also of whatever is happening to each port. So it's very simple, plug and play, and you're done. A lot of these models also offer fiber connection. So you have a fiber connection from your normal network straight into the switch, and then from your switch, it will go to gigabit ports through over the LAN network. So it depends on what your application is. So this is just a little bit of a guideline showing you the difference between the traffic. So if you have to imagine your 10 to 100 megabytes per second line that's going into your switch and you're trying to get out on the other end. So with ours is straight through right over itself. So it depends on the different model and different series that you need and the different applications. So this makes life a lot easier, especially for surveillance or any other data transfer for high bandwidth. For normal home use, security use, office use, domestic use, I use it. It makes life a lot easier, especially if you're trying to transfer from one device to another device at your house or at the office. You know, going gigabit is much better. It speeds up the process, and you don't have to sit and wait there for the files to copy or wait for it to complete the copy itself. Then we have our smart managed switches. They are ranging from 10 to 100 megabytes per second. So these are PoE switches. They also do have fiber connection. Yes, they are not gigabit, but they are 10 to 100. But it still makes life easier, especially for surveillance, for camera use, for video use itself. That makes life a bit easier, and it's a bit better on the price range itself. So not always you need gigabit, but we do offer that as well. A lot of people are used to this specific products, especially when it comes to the network health mode itself. So this can be pulled in. The nice thing about these is also you can connect them also to your HIK Pro Connect itself. So you can also see what's happening there, and it will notify you also if something goes down, which will be our next slide. I think I'm running too fast with this. So on the HIK Pro Connect for your installer, if you do have video walls or whatever the case is, this makes life a lot easier, especially to manage what's happening. So if there is maybe an IP conflict, this will allow you to notify, to say that, listen, there's an IP conflict or whatever the traffic is, or maybe there's one that's running a bit more, or there's a bit of a strain on one because maybe the distance, whatever the case is. This is in real time. So this makes it a lot easier for your installer or your technician to be able to see what is happening regarding the network on that switch itself. So this is a very nice feature, very easy to use, and yeah, makes life a lot better for any company that is monitoring their network. So as you can see, it will go through, it will tell you exactly which IP address and which port is the issue. Right, you can scan this through the HIK Connect Pro or HIK Pro Connect itself. So, and like I mentioned, this can also be pulled into your HIK-Central Professional. So that makes life a lot easier. Right, so the next is going to be our next wireless routers. So wireless routers, we've got different options here, from the little dongle to normal routers to the 5 to the Wi-Fi 4. So different stages, different applications. You can also see we offer little repeaters and little point-to-point repeaters as well. So that makes life a lot easier. That's coming soon. So the nice thing about this, it's got dual bandwidth on a lot of these products. So that gives you 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. So if the one falls away, it will immediately go towards the other one. So if you are on 5 gigahertz and you're running through your house or you're running to your garage and the walls are a little bit thicker, then it will jump down from 5 gigahertz to 2.4 and you don't lose connection. That makes life a lot easier. So different models, different series. So we have compared it to different brands itself. So it might not have the same always, but it has more capabilities itself. So we're trying to push more towards making it very user-friendly towards the end user. Right, so as you can see in this little demonstration, on ours, you can run off your Wi-Fi cameras itself, our Hikvision Wi-Fi cameras. So you can run up to 9. On other companies or other brands, you can run only up to 5. So you get a bit limited and then it gets distorted. On our different network range, you can see that there is a bit of a difference here. So especially when you come here, I don't know how they got all those phones connected, but they got all those phones connected and you can see some of them are lagging. I'm not sure if that is TikTok or if it is YouTube or whatever the case is, but you can definitely see the difference in the speed regarding that. So on the bandwidth itself, so a lot of people will say, okay, but when I test the bandwidth itself on Hikvision, it's a bit higher, but on another brand, it's a bit lower. So that doesn't make sense. So it is a bit higher, but we offer more accessibility on your data transfer. So it looks a bit worse when it comes to the bandwidth, but it gives you more data transfer, especially on your upload and your download, as you can see on this picture below. Right, this gives you that capability of also, again, with the signals between different walls, different sizes of walls, so you get more upload speed and more download speed. So for those that don't know the difference between upload and download, download is when you are downloading a movie or whatever the case is. Upload is when you are uploading your pictures or your videos to a friend or whatever the case is. So the speed is where the difference comes in, and we concentrate a lot on that upload speed to reduce that time. So again, different way of showing ours compared to competitive out there in the same range. So up to 9 cameras, mobile devices, 29 mobile devices. So yeah, all-rounder, just heavy, strong, and much easier to use. Right, then on our network cables, our key features, just waiting for the slide to open. Come on. PowerPoints are too big, so it makes it a bit difficult to demonstrate everything. Okay, while the slide is opening, on our network cables, we have different options, different sizes, different ways of going through those cables itself. So we've got from Cat 5e to all the way to Cat 6 and different sizes and different ways of different applications. Our cables are almost 100% pure copper. I think it's going to the next slide. It's not going to the next slide. So yeah, so we've got different features, different lengths itself. It's got that durability, so it helps a lot. There we go, finally I made it. I love this picture. It's a very nice picture of our Cat 6, just to show. So it also has that fire resistance itself. What that basically means is when you take the Cat 6 cable and you light it up, it will start burning and immediately just die. So especially when you take the cables through different firewalls, so it won't spread the fire through our cable compared to different brands or different makes of cables that are out there. Ours are specially been tested and designed for our applications, especially for cameras and especially for network data communication. Right, so like I mentioned, different boxes, different sizes, different lengths, different applications, different colors. Also, a lot of people are a bit fussy with the colors. I don't know why, but cable is cable. So yeah, it definitely works. I just want to close this. There we go. It's still showing. It's still showing. Almost there. Right, and then we've got our point-to-point plugs itself for surveillance. These are different applications. So a lot of the guys that do CCTV will know also that for power supplies, for cameras, it's always a little bit difficult. So we do offer now a better quality and longer lifespan regarding hours itself. So you have your inputs at the bottom, you have your power source, and you can switch your different stages that you would like for camera surveillance. So that keeps your uptime itself on it, and it makes life a lot easier. So there's different models from a 4-channel to an 8-channel. So what that basically means is you can supply for 4 cameras 12-volt power at 1 amp a channel, and then also you have the 8-channel that supplies also 1 amp to a camera. You don't need always more than that because we're trying to reduce cost on power. It's got the lightning surge protector built into it, so it makes life a lot easier, and you've got a better way of also mounting, and it's easy accessible for the installer or technician to be able to handle that. All right, that is it on our presentation regarding our monitors, our displays, and a few of our accessories, just to show you guys a little bit about that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for your time that you guys spend here with us. We really appreciate it. And next week we'll carry on with our HIK Pro Connect. There's a lot more involved, and we're trying to get you guys to be able to see the capability and how it will benefit your business or your environment as an installer or technician or as a client. So please keep that in mind as well for next week. And thank you again. I will be staying behind after recording for the Q&A if there's any questions. Thank you very much. Enjoy.